Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta. Today, we're diving into fundraising and a unique organization working to power the good, providing over $38 million for worthy causes. Joining us is the American Fundraising Foundation's AmFund for Shorts, Director of Strategic Initiatives and Senior Development Director, Kalley Dunn. Kalley, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us, Andrew. We're so excited to be a part of this amazing organization and to share a little bit more about it.
Give us a history for AmFund and the Golden Pear story.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of my favorite looks back in history. So I'll take you back to 1999 when we were founded. So we've been around for over 20 years now in the nonprofit sector. And really, AmFund was founded to give back those much needed unrestricted funds to nonprofits who so critically need them and are so often faced with all of these restrictions with gifts or grants or funds that they're raising. So our founders, Wade and Barbara West, are two prior network news anchors. They were broadcast journalists. Barbara used to work on World News Tonight back in London. And so as network news anchors do, they got asked to MC this, be mistress of ceremonies for this. And they're good philanthropists, so they did it. They were living for their weekends, working all day on the network, and then on the weekends going to sometimes 3 or 4 fundraising events in one weekend. And so they decided, why are we working, on this network where it's always bad news? That's kind of what the news is a lot of the times, is that crime, chaos, and corruption. And so they realized we love nonprofits and we are learning so much helping them fundraise. We could really do some good sharing our lessons learned with the rest of the nonprofit sector. So they founded the American Fundraising Foundation in 1999, and we've had some evolution since then. I know you mentioned the Golden Pear story. Our logo, actually, when we were founded, used to be a tree. And, trees, if you've heard the story of the giving tree, they're, known for just being strong and having deep roots and outreaching branches. So, of course, it was a great logo. Flipping to the digital side, it was a little hard to format as a tree is with all of its branches and everything. So, we were kind of looking at shifting our logo for multiple reasons for the digital purpose, but then still aligning with our story. And so eventually with the tree, we added a pear. So it was then the pear tree, because the history of the pear is just so robust. It dates back to ancient Chinese history and Egyptian history, talking about the fortitude and the longevity that the pear represents. And so we realized that was our icon and it was meant to be. So we call our logo now the Golden Pear. And anytime we support a nonprofit, we're supporting their Golden Pear stories. Because really every nonprofit has a story, and it's just about sharing it and sharing that why. So that's kind of how we fast forward to 2021 with our Golden Pear as our logo and the Golden Pear stories that we're able to contribute to every single day.
Talk about the ways AmFund assists nonprofits. You assist them in 3 ways: through your educational programs and fundraising resources, fundraising program, and then the unrestricted grant program. So talk about those.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. And those have been evolving, in our 20-year history. So it's always great to, go back to the table every year with our board and say, what can we do new, different, or better to support the nonprofit community? So those programs continually evolve. I'll start with our flagship fundraising program. So we really believe in not only supporting the very important unrestricted fundraising efforts of nonprofits, but supporting their donors for contributing to such amazing organizations and helping raise those critically needed funds. So, as a part of our fundraising program, we launched the Fundraising Travel Program, which encourages donors to travel for a good cause. So if you've attended a black tie gala or a clay shoot or fashion show or any type of fundraising event, you've probably seen some of their giving opportunities like a raffle or a silent auction or an open ask. And so incorporating travel into those giving opportunities for the donors who likely travel on their own anyway, is just a win-win. So the donor is able to get something fabulous for their giving, like a trip, and the nonprofit is able to capitalize on their travel pocket that, the donor is going to spend anyway, just maybe not to benefit that nonprofit. So marrying the two, marrying the travel opportunity and the giving back opportunity has just been such a great resource for our fundraising travel program. So that is where we've probably contributed the most funds back to nonprofits in our 20-year history. Additionally, because of COVID and the world of having no in-person special events really for the past year, in addition to that program, we also launched our own signature fundraising platform. So if nonprofits want to host a virtual event or an ongoing campaign and still include some of those really exciting giving opportunities for their donors, they can do so through AmFund. And what's really, really great about that is our board often covers the cost completely of the platform, of the site build, of all of the coding and logistics that go into launching a fundraising platform. They do that all at no charge to our nonprofit partners. So that was really exciting. It's my silver lining out of COVID for sure.
Speaking of COVID, I think that we've seen a lot of nonprofits forcefully innovate and come up with some great new ways to fundraise that hopefully they can use, moving forward. So what are some tips or resources you've seen nonprofits use throughout the pandemic to raise funds that, you hope they'll use moving forward, like texting programs, virtual auctions? Y'all have a great online blog that has resources and tips for nonprofits for fundraising. So talk about some of those resources that you've seen nonprofits utilize throughout the pandemic, and what you sort of would like to see them use moving forward.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. Our marketing director works very, very hard on that blog. So I'll definitely share that kudos with her. So thank you. But as a part of our fundraising and resource program, we do make as many resources, templates, downloadable guides, webinars, you name it. We try and make it available to our nonprofit partners. And so, especially this past year in this whole digital virtual realm that maybe some nonprofits were a little bit hesitant to step into, or maybe they were just saying, oh, we don't have to learn that Zoom thing, it'll go away. And then here it was, and we're still, living in this Zoom world. I would say the most important resources and tips I've seen nonprofits take advantage of in this, this post-COVID world we're living in has definitely been to just continue to tell their story. I think at first a lot of organizations in general, not just nonprofits, kind of put a pause on social media, on outreach, on growth in a sense, because we were in this world of, oh my gosh, we don't know what to do. We don't know what tomorrow holds. So getting back into that momentum of sharing their stories and continuing to, push out the work that's still being done, even if it's being done behind the scenes or in a virtual format now, like with your virtual tours, because sometimes it's hard to do tours in person. The work is still being done. So just continuing to push out that messaging has been the biggest game changer I've seen in nonprofits pivoting, I'll use that word, throughout 2020 and into 2021. So just continuing with social media and storytelling, even if it's in a digital format, if it's a virtual event, capturing those videos and images, they live on long past that virtual event. And now you have content to move forward into your next event or your next campaign. So really, I would just say the getting back on the horse and the not stopping and hitting pause anymore has just been the number one, I would say, maybe innovator of nonprofits kind of getting back into it.
Now, speaking of nonprofits, talk about some of the nonprofits who've benefited from your services.
In our 20-year history, we've grown our support each year, which is so exciting. I love logging on to GuideStar and looking at how we've grown. If you look back to 2010 to now, it's just amazing. So this past year, we supported over 600 nonprofit organizations, and that's all across the US. So even though we are headquartered down in Orlando, Florida, we are very boots on the ground in non-COVID times, of course, of being there and showing up for our nonprofit partners and their fundraising events. So from little garden clubs who are all volunteer run and working, very much so in their local community, to national hospital foundations and YMCAs and groups that have a little bit larger reach and larger recognition. Our board has been so great about not discriminating based on size or budget or local restraints of that nature, but really being inspired by the mission. And so I know often, sometimes organizations who are not necessarily service providing or out there, delivering diapers or delivering food, sometimes they get passed over for funds, just, in the nature of grant cycles and things of that. So it's really exciting here that the board doesn't, discriminate against the type of organization they are. One day we can be supporting a local Girl Scouts group, and the next day a foster parent organization, the next day a hospice. So there's really no limit to, our support. It's just exciting to see the partnerships that form. We have a hashtag we like to use here. We do hashtag 501c3s Unite. And because we really feel that we're stronger together. So any other 501c3 that we can unite with and help their fundraising, we're stronger together. We don't have to be so siloed like we so often are in this nonprofit sector. So 501c3s Unite, that's what we're all about. And any, nonprofit that is looking for additional support or resources or even launching, a fundraising campaign for the first time, we would love to be a resource for them and help them brainstorm and learn from, the lessons we've learned and mistakes we've made. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Someone's already done it.
I love that. I love that hashtag, and it's a way for all these different size nonprofits to learn about you, to learn about others. I think that's great, and there's power in collective impact. And like you said, when you break down those silos, you're able to learn from each other, and we are stronger together. So that's wonderful. How can a nonprofit partner with AmFund?
All an organization has to do is reach out to us on our website. There's a contact button, call us, email us. We have a conversation. If it's a good fit, we put together an appeal to go in front of our board, and our board approves support. So it's a really exciting time to be getting in the door to partner with AmFund. Now is definitely the time, especially because we have an upcoming unrestricted grant cycle that will be launching later this summer. We've got a grant cycle coming up. Who doesn't love unrestricted funds?
Absolutely. What puts a smile on your face when you look at the work AmFund has been able to accomplish and the work that you've been able to do in your role?
Oh, wow. I mean, so much. I would say almost every aspect here really keeps me smiling. Like, I take work home with me. It's not just my 9 to 5. I really live, breathe, and sleep AmFund, which I'm so happy to be able to do. Personally, my background, I came from Girl Scouts before I was with this organization. And so I love youth. And I've always had this nonprofit, like philanthropic background. My parents have instilled with me since I was old enough to sell Girl Scout cookies. But coming to AmFund, we can support all different nonprofits. So, like I said, from Girl Scouts to a hospice to a foster care agency to healthcare. I love the connection and the collaboration and really building those bridges from one nonprofit to another that otherwise they might not make those connections and network with each other. But then additionally, especially in the past year or so here, it makes me really smile to see the innovation our team has found in the past year. And in the time that they've been with AmFund, they've all branched out so much and created new programs and new fundraising opportunities. And the innovation, just from saying, oh, I'm a left brain or I'm a right brain, I think now we're kind of all innovating a little bit more and using all sides of our brain with this post pandemic world. But that's what really makes me smile too, is the team. We've got an amazing team, an amazing culture, and just seeing their creativity blossom, it makes my job a whole lot easier.
Definitely. Well, you can see that you're passionate about it. And I think that's great because a motto that is sort of my life motto is we'll be known by the problems we solve. And looking and learning more about you, I mean, you're a change maker and a problem solver. So I think that's great to have that you as an asset on the AmFund team, and just knowing your passion. I can't imagine just your coworkers and how they work together to help nonprofits. So I think that's wonderful. Where can people go to learn more about AmFund or request sponsorship as a nonprofit?
Absolutely. All they need to do is visit our website or our Facebook page. There are buttons on both our Facebook and our website that say contact me or request more information. Just click there, fill it out with your name, phone number, email address, and the nonprofit you're interested in supporting or a little bit more details. And someone from our development team, we have development directors here in the office who support all different regions of the US. So they're very specialized in their area, which is great. One of our development directors will reach out to you, set up a call or a Zoom to learn more about your organization, and then again, hopefully put together that appeal to bring to our board for fundraising support.
Well, Kalley, thank you so much for coming on the City Current Radio Show.
Thank you, Andrew. This has been great, and I'm so excited that we're connected now more than ever.